Okay, we are back from going to go see Godzilla minus one. Oh boy. Okay, so 2014 happens, and we get the Godzilla reboot, right? And it's the Godzilla reboot that had Aaron Taylor Johnson as a soldier, with our introduction to Ken Watanabe, and Elizabeth Olsen was his wife. And while it played a game of teasing the monster, a lot of people agreed that the monster scenes and the Godzilla scenes in this film were stellar. They were fantastic, but the parts that for the most part sucked was the human element. The human element felt like a nuisance. It didn't make you care about the character, except for Bryan Cranston's character. One of the worst things about uh that film, the Godzilla film, is the fact that they killed off Bryan Cranston's character in like the first. I wouldn't even say at the end of the first act. He gets killed off in like the first 30 minutes of the film. Other than that, the visuals for the film were absolutely fantastic. Them teasing the monster and then finally giving us Godzilla towards the end was great. But like I said, the human element sucked. Godzilla minus one takes that formula of a human story we're supposed to follow, and then the monster and the destruction, the sheer destruction and scale and terror that is the monster of Godzilla, and dials that bitch up to around 1,000. I didn't think I would care about these people as much as I did. First off, the film gives us what, in my opinion, is my favorite portrayal of the outcome or the lives or the struggle that people essentially went through at the end of World War II from the Japanese perspective. Because from the Japanese perspective, it was a sense of honor and a sense of duty for you to go off and die for your country, and for you to basically become a kamikaze pilot, a suicide bomber, to take out these American ships so that the nation could win. And what you see from these individuals is the PTSD, the survivor's guilt, the basically trying to rebuild your life after seeing the horrors of war, only to return home and discover that there's even more horrors, such as the destitution and destruction of whole swaths of your country waiting for you, living in squalor, trying to just basically survive with essentially nothing. Going off to war and starving there, only to come home and starve again, but this time you're starving while trying to save and protect your family. It is a fantastic portrayal, because it really made me feel something for all of these characters. No character is wasted in this. Every single character that they introduced, in some way, shape, and form, you're gonna low key get a little bit attached to. You're gonna be like, okay, like you're like introduced character number 7 halfway through the film. You're a part of the family now, because they all have stakes in essentially surviving the horror that is Godzilla coming towards them. The main guy for this film is Ryunosuke Kamiki. Fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic as Koichi Shikishima. He's the main character of this film. He's basically a former kamikaze pilot. His story from the war and his survivor's guilt and his entire journey throughout the film is great. That is how you write a protagonist. That's how you make you feel something for a protagonist. The director of this film is Takashi Yamazaki, and I wasn't sure where I had seen him before until I went into the filmography and I discovered that he did Lupin the Third, the first, which was an animated film that came out a while back. It is this one, for those of you that are interested in probably going off to go and see it. Um, that film was great, and he is continuing to hone his craft. And when I say he is continuing to hone his craft, I fucking mean that shit. It as his from where he started, because I believe his first film was Juvenile in 2000, to where he is now with Godzilla minus one. He is perfecting his craft, and I really hope that they actually give him the reins to make another Godzilla film. But we've talked about the humans. Let's talk about Godzilla. This is how you do a monster movie. This is how you do a monster introduction, which is this film pulls no punches in any way, shape, or form. This Godzilla is all gas, no brakes. He is go from the beginning. Like it's so great when there isn't one of the critiques that you can have about the MonsterVerse Godzilla films is the fact that, like, oh, he's a protector, he's an alpha, he's exceptionally smart, and he knows that he must protect these humans from the threat of the Titans. Nah, dog, nah. This Godzilla ain't about that. This Godzilla's about that smoke. He's like, look, I was just trying to sleep. Y'all bombed me. So as a direct result, I feel as though I'm justified in showing up at your house and bombing you. He is about that action. Anything that gets in his way, he's scrapping with. He's scrapping with ships. He's scrapping with tugboats. He's scrapping with trains. He's scrapping with buildings. He's scrapping with the army. Everyone can catch these hands. Godzilla is about that action. 100% he is about that action. Like it is from the moment he is first introduced, and I like that there's an evolution to the way in which he moves. Because when he's first introduced, he's big, but he's not big. And because he can move faster. Like just whip his head around, whipping his tail around, he's doing a bunch of stuff. And you're like, holy shit, this motherfucker is fast. When he gets bigger, he starts to become a lot more slow and a lot more lumbering. And I liked that the director made sure to capture the sense of scale. Something that's the size of maybe a 5-story building, or maybe I'd say maybe like a 10-story building, is going to move way faster than something that is suddenly at the size of like the Empire State Building or the Chrysler Building. It's I like that. I enjoyed the fact that when we first saw him, he was on demon time, but he was on quick demon time. And then as the film progressed and he reached his like ultimate height and size, he was still on demon time, but he wasn't quick. So, but he was so strong in that size, it was almost like it really didn't matter. What are you going to do to escape the destruction? And can we talk about the destruction? Because this movie costs $15 million. Hold on. We got to pull it up. This movie cost $15 million to make. By comparison, Godzilla, the 2014 film, cost $160 million. And the last Godzilla film, which was Godzilla versus Kong, was $200 million. So between Godzilla minus one only being $15 million and looking fantastic, and $200 million for Godzilla versus Kong, I have a question. I have a question, because I would not say that this film looks as good as Godzilla versus Kong, because there are certain parts where the CGI, when you see it, is like it's a little bit iffy, but whatever. However, I can't justify the $145 million difference, because I'm like, if they did this with $15 million, they made him terrifying, they made him big, they made his ass look fucking real. What's going on here with 145 million? What's happening? What's the divide here? Because I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down and watching this film, and I really there were only like 2 scenes where I felt like the CGI was a bit iffy. Other than that, when you're watching this film, it's like, this film's absolutely fucking fantastic. Godzilla looks great, the ships look great, the tanks look great. A lot of this stuff looks great. And then like you sit down and you think about it, you're like, yeah, but like Godzilla versus Kong was like 200 million. That's like $185 million. Like, what did the $185 million go to? This is why I consistently say that there's a level of bloat in Hollywood that really shouldn't exist. Because if you're able to make a film like this for $15 million, it almost reminds me of of District 1, because District 1 was the film. No, I'm sorry, not District 1. District 9. District 9 was the film by Neil Blomkamp. That was $30 million. And I always thought District 1 looked absolutely fantastic, damn near fucking real. And they were using CGI. So the money difference here, really, I'm lost. I don't really understand what exactly is going on, that these Hollywood films, their budgets are just so fucking, they're just, because a lot of the time when you're sitting down and you're like, oh my god, we put $250 million into this movie. I don't understand why this movie failed. This movie failed because you put $250 million into it, but you didn't secure a soul. And Godzilla minus one has a soul. It's absolutely, it's fantastic. Is it my favorite Godzilla film? Yes. I would say there's a level of fear where after the first, I would say, water attack, anytime they're on water, there was a level of anxiety because it's like, damn, he's gonna pop out of the water and just like get him. Um, I've never had that in a Godzilla movie before, where there was a level of anxiety because of how much he is a savage, that he could just pop out of the woodworks and jump your ass. Uh, I would say it's my favorite Godzilla movie. I would say it's my favorite Godzilla movie. It edges out Shin Godzilla just by a little bit. And then third, I would probably put Godzilla King of Monsters. Then I would put Godzilla versus Kong. Then I would put the old school Godzilla film where they first introduced Ghidorah. And then there's like a bunch of the other ones I'd throw in, like the old school one where they introduce Mecha Godzilla, the old school one where it's him and Godzilla Jr., but older Godzilla dies and his energy is able to revive his son, and then Godzilla Jr. is able to get up and go off. That one's also great. That one hit me in the chest. But favorite Godzilla film, yes, it's fantastic. I love it. I'm really hoping that they do give him a sequel. I think a sequel will be well deserved. He's done a fantastic job. I Hollywood needs to figure out what exactly is Japan is doing there, where their CGI is getting better and better, and their cost of creating these movies really isn't that big. Because I think Shin Godzilla is 1 billion yen, and I did the correlation. 1 billion yen is about $7 million. Shin Godzilla cost half of the cost for this Godzilla movie, and we need to figure this out because there's no reason why. And I've said this before, the Marvel should have been like $250 million when, or a current Godzilla movie is 155 to $200 million, where Godzilla minus one gave me a perfect cast, a perfect monster movie, fantastic action, truly captures the idea of how terrifying Godzilla should be for $15 million. This movie is fantastic. It is majestic out here, and I like I said it before, and I'm gonna harp on it again. I'm really hoping that we get a sequel to this film, because the Reiwa era, and I'm gonna have to make a video talking about why the Reiwa era Godzillas are on absolute fucking demon time. But the Reiwa era of Godzillas is just absolutely insane. Like, they are some terrifying motherfuckers. And I thought that this film wasn't going to be as terrifying as Shin Godzilla, but it was terrifying for completely different reasons. But if you've seen Godzilla minus one, let me know. Comment down below. Let's have a conversation about it, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.